Today, we received some massive news that should make all fighting game fans and Dragon Ball fans really happy. A new Dragon Ball fighting game called Dragon Ball FighterZ is coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. The game is being developed by Arc System Works, the same team that is currently doing some incredible work with the Guilty Gear franchise. And maybe more importantly, Dragon Ball FighterZ will be a team-based 3v3 fighting game, similar to Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3. So this has legitimately been a dream game of mine for as long as I can remember. As a huge fan of the Marvel vs. Capcom games and Dragon Ball as a whole, I always believed that Dragon Ball was the perfect franchise, like Marvel really, to transfer to that style of gameplay and just be super exciting to play and watch. While my dream, involved the Marvel vs. Capcom team at Capcom making this game, Arc System Works is definitely no slouch, so I'm not complaining at all about that choice. The idea of a Dragon Ball Z fighting game that is more in line with a traditional fighter rather than like a simulation of the anime itself sounds really exciting to me. Games like the Budokai games, Budokai Tenkaichi, and Xenoverse games, for example, they kind of sacrifice balance to emulate the feel of the show, and they have a bunch of cool cinematic moments and like really super overpowered characters, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. That's all cool. Those games are really fun. I love playing them. But Dragon Ball is a large enough franchise to warrant, I think, both a new game like a Xenoverse and a game like this Dragon Ball FighterZ that we're looking at, which is more a traditional fighting game approach. So in the past, we've seen games like Super Dragon Ball Z on the PS2 that somewhat scratch this itch that I'm talking about, but that doesn't even compare to the promise of this new game, which looks like a legit, high-budget, AAA Dragon Ball console fighter. And it's being developed by one of the most talented fighting game devs on the planet, so that helps too. This is the kind of Dragon Ball game that I think has a seriously good chance of showing up on the EVO roster and just blowing up with the fighting game community in general. Now, you probably know this, but ArcSys has actually already made a Dragon Ball fighting game before. It's called Extreme Butoden, and it came out on the 3DS in 2015. It was mildly successful, from what I know, but it wasn't really talked about that much after it came out. It kind of came and went, especially compared to the bigger Dragon Ball games like Xenoverse. I think the reason for this is pretty simple. It was clearly a lower budget title compared to the big console Dragon Ball games. And on top of that, it was a fighting game that was exclusive to the 3DS. Fighting games exclusive to handhelds are pretty rare, and they pretty much never gain that much traction, because I think people just prefer playing fighting games on a big screen with a proper controller or an arcade stick. Now, we don't really know anything about the game outside of these two screenshots that you're seeing in the video, and the title of the game, which is Dragon Ball FighterZ, and the fact that it's a 3v3 team-based fighter. However, here's one of my hopes that I have for this game. In order to keep this game balanced and allow for more unique playable characters, I'm really hoping that transformations do not take up a separate character slot. So here's what I mean by this. In many DBZ fighting games, you'll have Goku as a playable character, but then you'll also have Super Saiyan Goku as a separate character, and then you'll have Super Saiyan 2 Goku, and then you'll have Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and it just keeps going and going, and all of a sudden you have 7 Gokus in one game. It's a lot of separate character slots for what basically amounts to different hair for the same character. I don't want to be scrolling through the character select screen in Dragon Ball FighterZ and have to hear this.
Kid Goku, Goku, Kaioken Goku, Super Saiyan Goku, Ultra Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan God Goku, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Kaioken times 20 Goku.
So you get the picture. Also, remember that this is a team game, so it would be a bit strange to play a team of 3 Gokus against another team of 3 Gokus. I think the best solution to this problem is making transformations a cosmetic detail only. So, in other words, like alternate costumes. So, for example, if your favorite Super Saiyan form is Super Saiyan 3, you can choose the Super Saiyan 3 skin for Goku and play it without the character becoming like super overpowered and ruining the balance of the game. Whatever the case may be in the end, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about this game next week during E3 and in the coming months. In case you haven't noticed, I'm super pumped for this game. Team-based fighting games and Dragon Ball are 2 of my favorite things in life, period. So the 2 of them coming together like this makes me a little tingly in my pantaloons. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button because I'll definitely have more Dragon Ball FighterZ coverage and E3 2017 coverage in general coming over the next week. Once we get some more info on this game, I plan to make a character prediction video as well, probably sometime next week. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and take care.